Okay, so guys, before we film, we're actually 1 meter away because of the COVID-19 guidelines.
Yep.
Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Lifing Up 101. Today we are going to continue on our topic on owning your first dream home. And we are very privileged to have with us Mr. Derek.
Hello.
Who's a dear friend of mine, and we have been care group mates since like 2015.
Yep,
Yeah, 2015, yeah. So a little bit of background of our bromance. Derek and I actually went on a Cambodia mission trip together sometime in 2015 as well.
Yep.
And we had many wonderful memories there, including one that we tried to catch a frog in our hotel room.
Yeah.
But we didn't manage to get it lah.
Yep.
So we were a bit paranoid that night. But yeah. Okay, so Derek, perhaps you can share with our audience what do you do currently? Yeah.
Sure. Basically, I'm a real estate agent. I've been in the industry for 5 years. My job is to really highlight to all my clients, right, what are the various pros and cons of their decision making, what are the risks, what are the investment opportunity, and to help them to execute their decision so that they are able to move one step closer to finding their dream home. Yeah.
Okay, I believe that in the course of your work, right, Derek, you'll be working with a lot of young couples,
You're right.
Looking at how to own their dream home.
Mhm.
So perhaps for our viewers' benefit, maybe you can share with them like what are some of these thought processes that these couples have, and how do you actually advise them, and help them declutter these concerns and considerations.
Yep. I think for a lot of we call them first-time buyers or young couples for that matters, the biggest concern they have is that they do not know what they do not know. One of the key things is this, like what are the procedures, what are the options that's available out there. So I think that is the key primary start point, because they just want to know, a lot of them just want to know what are the options available beyond just the BTO and the SBF, because they have a lot of different things, like for example timeline, the location that they prefer, as well as they also want to be able to project like 10-20 years later what will happen, etc. So that's where I come in to provide consultation, to share with them what are the options available and the pros and cons, basically.
Okay, so maybe you mentioned about options, right?
Yep.
So I think in the previous video I touched on BTO and SBF lah.
Yep.
Okay, that's what a layman would know. A bit of background, right? Me and my wife actually got our dream home 2 years ago in 2017. But to be honest, we were only looking at BTO and SBF,
Yep.
right? So what other options are there out there for like a typical young couple lah? Don't talk about those super high SES, buy landed, buy condo, like expensive condo kind of buys.
Sure. The options available beyond BTO and SBF, we have of course resale HDB.
Okay.
We also have resale EC as well as new launches EC, like that means those that is under construction, as well as even condominiums. So I think the biggest misconception, I think I will put them into two extremes. Okay, the first extreme are people who are overly ambitious. They are the first thing they think of is that, okay, I must go for a condo, I don't mind spending this X amount of money, etc., etc. The other extreme are people who are actually overly prudent, that they didn't know that they actually have other options available, and that is actually viable for them as well. So I would say most of my clients are actually, usually they will fall in between these two extremes lah. That's where I come in to really share with them what are different pros and cons, to help them to evaluate before they can see that, hey, actually these are the decision, these are the pros and cons, and these are the so-called consequences, right, if any, if I were to undertake that decision. Yep.
Okay, I believe that what you mentioned is like people have their own opinion, like the way that they are maybe overly defensive or overly aggressive.
Yeah,
right?
you're right.
So I do know that you have a degree in psychology.
Yeah,
right?
I do.
And it's interesting that you embarked on this journey as a property agent.
Yep.
Currently in your line of work, how has that become relevant in whatever that you're doing at the moment?
I think the relevancy, I mean, just a disclaimer, right? I don't hypnotize my clients, okay? Even though I have
so
a degree in
psychology is not hypnotizing.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is to understand, what is their train, different people, their train of thought. The first thing first is that they must have a joint consensus of how they want to approach this, because I have seen some couples, right? The husband was thinking A, B, C, D, E, the wife was thinking EFG. So the whole entire process of purchasing a house can be very stressful, and in some cases, right, and thank God I didn't see that happening to my clients yet, is that some of them, they actually broke off their engagement, etc. So that is the important part. Is that first thing is that the couples must have a so-called consensus of how they want to approach this. The second thing is, of course, I will talk to them and find out more about them. Like for example, things like what is their life. I call it a life stage planning. Like what is their plans for the next 5 years, their next 10 years, or even the next 2 years perhaps. Because why it matters is because if let's say they are planning to have kids, right, it will always be advisable to be at least near one of the parents. Okay. Secondly, is also about space as well, because for some, right, they focus a lot on making money. Ultimately, they heard about, wow, people getting rich by buying properties, and they want to. I mean, it's granted you want to be rich, you want to make the money work hard for you, but you also need to know whether by doing that, right, by so-called there are certain consequences to your decision. Does it affect your life stage planning? Does it affect your need for space, and does it make your stay in that home, right, uncomfortable? So I think I will firstly guide them, like firstly I mentioned the consensus. The second part is their life stage planning. The third and most important part is financing as well. Whether or not, okay, financing, right, it's not just about being able to pay the down payment, or in Singapore sense, right, the TDSR or the total debt servicing ratio, but rather are you able to sustain that lifestyle? Are you able to keep that lifestyle? Because I have clients who are actually earning a lot. They are earning like maybe 12K per month, but their current lifestyle, right, they are already spending like 10K a month. Don't ask me how they spend their money, but they can spend 10K a month. Okay. And to buy a private property that will be costing them around 2 to 3K additional cash, right, to so-called upkeep the mortgage, right, I think that will not be wise. So I will say these are the 3 key elements. Highlight again. One is consensus as a couple. Second is their life stage planning, and third and most importantly is their financing.
Okay, I see. So not only do you have to understand them at a personal level, their life stages, and on top of that, also their lifestyle. You also have to plan their finances for them.
Precisely. So nowadays, real estate roles, right, a real estate agent role is no longer just, okay, you want to buy a house, okay, what's your budget? Okay, you want to sell house, what's your budget? How much you want to sell? But we really need to find out, okay, what is next. We need to really help them to plan and also guide them along the whole process as well.
I see. I think that along with technology and the convergence of a lot of industries, there's a lot of overlapping of skills. For example, for psychology coming in, financing, that's the world that we live in. Okay, so now moving on to a more personal question.
Sure.
I won't say personal because the fact that I don't want you to actually advise people without knowing where they come from, because people can have different opinions. So we'll do a case study, and this case study is very unique because it will be of your own purchase with Colleen. I do know that you and Colleen embarked on an EC recently. So can you share with our audience what was the thought process behind it and the considerations that made you come to this sound decision?
Sure. Alright, so just to highlight, right, between me and Colleen, we are very...
Colleen is his wife actually.
She's not here today. For me and my wife, right, we are both actually quite risk adverse. We are not those kind that would like to go for high risk investments or want to buy things that's not prudent. So that's the first thing first, where we have that consensus of how we want to approach our home purchase. It has to be prudent and be something that we are able to afford as well. That's the first part. Because I also know that for Colleen, she actually used to stay in Bishan, so she's very used to being central. That is why we at the start we actually wanted to look for resale HDB, specifically in Ang Mo Kio, because firstly the resale HDB, the size there is awesome. It is very central, and it is so-called within our budget as well. It is costing around 400,000+. So we went to actually see a few resale HDB over there, and we almost wanted to offer for one of the resale HDB. But having said that, one of my friend, who is actually my manager now in my real estate work, wanted to have a chat with me to discuss more about our housing options. So when we sit down to do our sums, we realized that, hey, actually, in terms of timeline wise, in terms of space wise, in terms of budget wise, we can actually afford to buy a new launch EC, executive condo. So after doing our sums and doing our viewings, we decided to buy our first home, which is a new launch executive condo. But having said that, I will have to highlight that what is unique for me may be very unique for you guys as well, because we did our sums, we did our calculation, and we realized that we have, if let's say both me and my wife could lose our job, right, we are able to sustain the house, the mortgage for the house for up to 3 years. So we decided to go for that and we are okay with the location. Of course, it's not as central as Ang Mo Kio, or it's not near the nearest MRT, but this is something that we agreed that we are willing to let go of and embark on this journey itself. Just to share what happened in the end is that if we were to bought that resale HDB at Ang Mo Kio, right, I did a check. The value of that place, because of the lease, right, is dropping, right, has reduced by 15%. Whereas I'm actually sitting on a 20% profit. Of course, this profit is unrealized yet if we were to sort our EC today. So that is the biggest the reason why we decided to go for EC. But the most important thing is we realize that we are financially able to go for it, and then we have a lot of safety net as well. So it also opens up a lot of options for us. So if today we were to sell our EC, we are able to perhaps one option is that we can go back to the HDB route, pay for the HDB, and we still have some cash remaining. Or if we want to upgrade, right, we also have some cash at hand to for us to work on. So that is why we decided to buy an executive condo in the end Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you very much for being so candid with your sharing and being so real and upfront with it. So hopefully that has brought you value. So of course there's a disclaimer, right? What works for him may not work for you. But do seek out the advice of other property agents, reliable ones, to guide you along the way. So Derek, maybe perhaps before we wrap things up, for our viewers, maybe you can share with them if there's one thing to really take away, in your opinion, is the main pointer for couples to consider. What would that be?
I think the most important factors is to be able to understand that you can't have the best of everything. Because I have a lot of couples that say, Derek, can you find me a house that have the space, can fit my budget, can earn money for me, and at the same time near my parents, and at the same time, right, be of a good size.
Possible in a dream, right?
I mean I'm waiting for God to manifest that kind of house for them. But unfortunately, it is almost close to no chance at all. So the key thing when I advise them is to really highlight to them that, okay, if you embark on your option A, right, you might have to so-called take note that certain aspects will be sacrificed. If you take on option B, option C, what will be the different so-called consequences and various drawbacks that you may have from all the different options? Because unfortunately, there isn't any such of a perfect option that's there. So that is where I come in to really help them to evaluate, to guide them along, and then from there on, right, they can make their own decision. Because for me, my job is not to help my clients make the decision. My job is to advise them, highlight to them what are the things that they do not know, the unknown. And then from there on, once they have certain clarity, right, they are able to make the decision. And my job is to help them to execute, and to execute it in a way whereby it is comfortable for everybody. So I would say this is my final takeaway. No perfect home. My job is to help you find a house, but your job as a couple, right, is to make it a home for you and your family.
Hi guys, thank you once again for watching our videos, and we hope that our content has been useful for you. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, and feel free to drop us a comment should you have any questions, and we will love to explore them with you. Till then, stay safe and life up.